Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We're in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verses 24 through 30, and then picking up again verses 36 through 43. Jesus tells a parable about a good farmer who's sowing good seed, right? And that good seed, I think we should understand as the planting of faith in Christ. But while he is sleeping, while they're all sleeping, his enemy, think about this, in the middle of the night, his enemy is so hateful, so despicable, right? That he comes to sow weeds and thorns among the wheat. And one of the things that a farmer will tell you is that weeds don't need any help. Weeds don't need to be planted. They pop up on their own, right? And the thing is that the weeds are the pain and the brokenness of this world. And so that this despicable, hateful enemy wants to sow more discontent and more unhappiness. And when the wheat sprouts and forms the head, it shows the growth, you can see it, but right along with it comes the weeds. And his servants, his employees, workers say to him, well, didn't you sow good seed? And it's almost a joke because they know he did. No one goes out and sows weeds into their field. And you think about how this is like us, where we doubt God and we're like, God, did you really want to do good for us? You know, and we question, just as they question the good farmer, we question a good God and doubt him. And part of the problem is that, yes, he did sow good seed, but there are weeds in our lives, and we don't want to deal with the brokenness of this life. But that's the way of the cross, is that the cross goes through the brokenness of this life to bring about healing and salvation. And we have an unwillingness for us to want to deal with that, to go through that path of the cross. Now, the servants want to do scorched earth, and they just want to pull up all the weeds, but the good farmer tells them, don't do that, because you're going to pull up the wheat along with the thorns, the thistles. And, they urge him to try to get rid of the garbage, but the garbage is right there with the goodness. And we often like to think, well, those people over there are the thorns, they're the thistles, they're the weeds, and the people over here, well, we're the good people. But when we think about ourselves, right, we're not always clean. We're not always good. And that we recognize that, yes, we have faith and the good seed has been planted in us. But there's also the weeds popping up in each of us. And do we want God to pull up the weeds and then destroy us in the midst? Maybe destroy our faith. That's why the farmer is patient. The farmer is patient, and he says, you don't want to pull up the weeds or you're going to tear up the wheat too. And, you can't always tell when you see somebody that, you think you see a sinner, but you really don't know. The truth is you do see a sinner because we're all sinners, but you don't know what God is doing in somebody's life. And God sees both the sinner, but more importantly, he sees those who are redeemed. And so we recognize when it comes to the end of time, the only thing that's going to be left in heaven is the good seed. God is going to get rid of the weeds in our lives, but it will come in that last day. Hey, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.